If you like psychological horror, cosmic horror, and have thalassophobia, man, do I got a movie for you. In 2022, David Szymanski, also known as Dusk Dev, created a game where you pilot a submarine in a blood ocean. The intro of the game gives us some initial lore to set the scene. Decades ago, every known star and habitable planet vanished, leaving only those who were on space stations or starships. This event became known as the Quiet Rapture. With supplies dwindling and infrastructure crumbling, survivors are searching for any trace of natural resources in a universe of barren moons, lit by the ghost light of vanished stars. One such moon holds a strange anomaly, an ocean of blood. You are a convict tasked with exploring this anomaly in a makeshift submarine nicknamed the Iron Lung. It was not designed for this depth, so you will be welded inside and the forward window will be closed. There is no time for training. If successful, you earn your freedom. Once I got a photo of the first location, I fully understood the game. Gotta say, the sub is extremely accurate to the film, which tells me that they understood the set design of the game. I really like the film not just from a psychological aspect, but it also plays with the concept of cosmic horror, which I found really interesting. It's also very claustrophobic and is a really tense film, mostly shot on one location too, so the cinematography was actually really impressive. I watched this in theaters, and honestly, it's a really very intentionally made film. It took Mark 3 or 4 years to make this film, which was discussed on his podcast, where he also discussed his render farm multiple different times. The indie games developer was heavily involved with the film's production, and Mark was the director, editor, and main actor of the film. This wasn't just a duo project though, there was a whole cast and crew that was dedicated to this film project. And just to let you know, there's no after credits scene. Some parts of the film can be up for interpretation in terms of theories regarding what was happening in certain moments in this very concise 2-hour story. The cinematography was phenomenal. They used every single camera angle possible with their red cameras and red lenses that Markiplier loves so much. In fact, Mark was so committed to this role that he literally ended up going to the hospital because too much blood got in his eyes. Talk about dedication to the craft. When we went to the theater, the audience we were with were great. During the trailers and commercials, everyone was joking. Once the movie started, we were locked in. You know it's a good movie when it's so tense you stop eating popcorn, but the moment you start crinkling that bag to get more popcorn, you almost don't want it anymore. The movie was so good that we didn't even finish our popcorn. I had to drive 8 hours to see this movie. Worth it. I even bought tickets for one of the original showings before it was in 1,000+ theaters. The theater we went to actually added more showings too. I like to think that Mark got a haircut to symbolize that he is finally past the Iron Lung era of his career since he grew his hair out for the film. Iron Lung is honestly my new favorite horror movie. Thank you to everyone involved in making this movie possible. It was well worth the wait. See it in theaters. Now, if you're still here and you want to know more about the film, I can't talk about it more without talking about spoilers. So here's your spoiler warning. Go see the film, please, in theaters if you can. If not, just see it in general. See the film first, please. Just see this film. Anyways, yeah. Most of the film is practical effects. There's a physical set that can rotate and throw the main character around, and they use tons of blood, like actual blood. Although the main character died in the end, there was almost this like morbid lesson of him even stating, "This is more than me." It was on one set the entire time, yet was still engaging throughout. And when it wasn't on set, you have the surface crew and the other underwater crews from previous expeditions. The distorted speaker in the film was something intentionally hard to hear due to it cutting out for story reasons, but due to the fact that we were in an independent theater and not an AMC or IMAX theater, it probably had more to do with how we watched it rather than the film itself. What I'm saying is, I need to rewatch it in a different environment, though I understood the speaker most of the time. There are few and far between moments that were funny in a dark comedy aspect, which makes sense because it's a very bleak film. This is a horror movie. Most of the time, you could argue that it's a suspense film or a drama or a thriller, but in the last act of the film, it was genuinely horrifying. The first 2 acts of the film are very slow burning. Some moments of the film stand out to the viewer without the main character even noticing, which was a nice little hint for the audience who is paying attention. The acts of the film are very natural due to the dashboard elements of the Iron Lung itself. Instead of text on screen saying, "Oh, this is Act 2, there is a specific meter that was almost used as a chapter or act marker of sorts that made sense for the story. It's a slow progression of the decay of the main character's sanity. There is a shift that happens about halfway through the film where you yourself as the audience are questioning along with the main character as to what is actually happening to said character. This is where I believe many theories one can start to piece together. The hallucinations caused by carbon dioxide / low oxygen. For example, the light on the speaker versus no light on the speaker. When the character is talking through the speaker, you see the light. But when you hear the voice and there is no light, I personally believe that that is a hallucination when the light is not on. Divine intervention and or higher power. This one I don't have a lot of evidence for, but I have heard this theory before. A different version of this that I see a little bit more evidence for is that the voice over the speaker when the light isn't on is the monster. At the end, it almost feels like the monster was telepathically conversing with him the entire time. Another theory I've heard is the join-us theory, where all the dead bodies are combined, such as a hive mind, which would explain the blood ocean, because the blood is human blood as revealed in the film. Another reveal was the X-ray camera. This is one of the best reveals of the film, honestly. In the first act, he's taking pictures underwater and you just see the skeletons. They bring him back up because he's like, "Yeah, I got a picture." He was freaking out, and in this freak out instance, he takes a picture of them. Turns out it was an X-ray which emitted radiation. This tells us that those initial photos in the first act were not of a skeleton, but something even more terrifying. Dude, this reveal was actually incredible. It was one of the times in the movie where my mouth was agape, because I was like, that was so impressive. There are some subliminal messages in the film, such as regarding Eden and the quiet rapture. Simon is the main character of the film, and there are 2 instances in the film where my jaw was on the floor in terms of visual effects, the beginning and the eye. In the beginning, we get this scene of the Iron Lung going in the blood ocean, and I can't tell if it's like a visual effect or if it's practical, but either way, it looked incredible, and it was such a good way to start the film. I was super impressed by it. And then during the said hallucinations from earlier, we get this like huge blood ocean where he's swimming in the blood ocean. We see this huge eye just like peering down on him. Kind of reminded me of Eclipsum a little bit, if you watched that video a few months ago. But yeah, no, that was also like really impressive. And those 2 instances, I'm like, okay, yeah, no, now I understand why the render farm was necessary. This is like very much like that scene specifically, the second one. It was definitely a render farm scene for sure, but it looked so incredible. Both instances looked so incredible. But yeah, like I said, this movie is psychological horror because the main character hears voices. It's cosmic horror because you can't fully see the monster, especially when it was like near the sub, but you can always feel its presence, even though you can't directly see it. There's body horror near the end of it because once the main protagonist makes prolonged contact with the blood, it breaks him out in boils, and that was genuinely horrifying. And then thalassophobia, because although it's not water, it's like a body of liquid where something is in that body of liquid that you just like can't see, which also plays into that cosmic horror of sensing a presence even though you can't directly see it until it's too late. There's a lot of tension and suspense that ramps up in this film, and generally it's such a good film. Oh my gosh, like I'm gonna buy this film if it's ever on DVD. I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna probably watch it again because I really want to watch it again. But yeah, if you finish this video and the spoilers don't mean much to you, still see the movie. Like honestly, just go see the movie, please. That's the whole point of this video, is to tell you to go see the movie. I love indie films. I love indie projects, and the fact that this indie film is blowing up is awesome, and I think that's really cool. And I love supporting independent projects, and I had to talk about this independent film because you need to go see it. It's really good. It is now my favorite horror movie of all time. Oh, it is so good. I genuinely love this film.
If you want more accurate, true information, then you can go to ironlung.com/blood and you can learn more about the blood donation process. You can even see a map of where we will have blood donation trucks on the 30th at your local movie theaters. You might notice that this map is nowhere nearly as filled as the other map on the main page. And when there is a shortage, that literally means that there will be some patients that will not be able to get blood and who could have survived, possibly, with treatment if they had a transfusion, but they don't have that available. I think that it's vitally more important that we just try to do some good, because in times of crisis, or in any time where you feel like you can't contribute to the world or can't help in one way and you really want to, blood donation is sometimes the most direct way to do that. Thank you everybody so much for watching. More information, ironlung.com. Link is in the description. There you can pre-sign your forms. You can find a donation center near you. You can look at all the requirements and you can see if you meet them. And then if you wanted to this week, you could also contact your local blood donation centers and you can see if you can help sooner, later, or if you're eligible to donate. So thank you. Again, ironlung.com/blood or just ironlung.com. Thank you so much for listening and being willing to help out.